Danielle Schaefer, and
hi, Tracy.
Hi. It's my privilege to be speaking to you all today for the Mercer County College's The Balanced Woman Luncheon, and I want to thank Danielle for bringing me in today. We've been doing work through my yoga studio here with the college for, I don't even know, it's been a long time.
At least 8 years.
I was going to say 8 to 10 years that we offer a yoga class. We currently do the Monday night class that's in the PE building at 5:30. And whenever those sessions are on, it's no cost to you. I know Susan comes, and we have some other friends that have been doing it with us for a really long time.
Wonderful.
And I really hope that, thank you, I really hope that after you read the book, maybe if you don't do yoga or you haven't tried yoga, you'll be inspired to maybe come and check those classes out, because it's an incredible opportunity to have right here at the school. Even if you're not in class or teaching that much, you can always come back, and it's worth it. The cost is perfect, right? So, so thank you, Danielle, for inviting me. So for those of you that don't know me, I am the founder and owner of One Yoga and Wellness Center. Currently, that's located in Hightstown, New Jersey. Originally, I opened in the East Windsor area, and I've been teaching yoga in that area since 2000, so for about 19 years.
Where in East Windsor?
I originated on 571. There was a massage place called Full Circle at one time. I started teaching there. I moved above City Streets Cafe on 130.
Okay.
Then I moved to the intersection of 571 and 130 where the carpet store is, and I was underneath them for 10 years. And then I recently, about three...
From the balcony?
Yeah, you went around the back and in. And then about 3 years ago, we moved into Hightstown Borough to get off of Route 130 and to try to see what it would be like in a smaller town. So the address has changed over the years quite a few times, but I've been hopping around. So maybe some of you have heard of the studio, or I see some heads nodding when I talked about different locations. So maybe you've seen it or seen the sign. But currently we have a beautiful location in Hightstown in a renovated Victorian home. And I meant to actually print out a little coupon to give all of you today to come and check a little class out, and I ran out of time. My schedule's been a little busy. So I'm going to send Danielle an offer, and if anybody wants to come and check out a class at the yoga studio, you can print it out. Is that okay if I send that to you? And you can come and check it out. But I want to go back a little bit. Before my business even started, I was a student right here at Mercer County College, and alma mater. So I remember years ago when I came back to talk to Danielle about coming to teach yoga here at the studio, and there's something about the smell. I can't explain it, but it smelled the same. It had the same smell when I walked into the hallway, into the vestibule area. I don't know if it's the rubber of the stairs or what, but it smelled the same. But what it did was it took me right back to the late 80s when I went to school here, and to that shy young woman that I was at that time. And when I think about that young lady back then, I want to say that I have a lot that I want to tell her today. And I'm sure many of you can kind of relate to that feeling of going back and wishing you could say something to your younger self now with more wisdom behind you. And if you're younger and you haven't gotten there yet, hang out, you will. But for instance, I want to tell her that she's beautiful just the way that she is. I want to tell her that instead of searching outside, that by looking inside herself and being true to who she is, that she'll find what she's seeking for in this lifetime. I want to tell her that her feelings are valid and that she has a voice. And I want to tell her that the universe has unlimited potential, and never underestimate her own light and stepping into that light to achieve her goals. There's so many things that I would tell that young girl, and if you believe in spiritual practices and quantum physics, says that I'm speaking to her right now, and she's listening to me. But that's a little deep and hippie, so let's get away from this. I don't want to get you too deep. But I think it is important to acknowledge and step into your light, and I want to talk about that a little bit today to you. And I think particularly for women, it's such an important time for us to step in our light, especially in these times. It's very difficult. I don't have to tell you that. So I'd like to begin by reading one of my all-time favorite quotes to you. And this is from author and lecturer Marianne Williamson. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with her, heard or listened to her. She actually just announced her candidacy for presidency for 2020 on a very different kind of format, but I don't want to get into politics. But really just as a spiritual teacher, I want to, bring this quote in and read it to you. This is something that when we start a new round of yoga teacher training at the studio and new people come in to embark on that journey of learning how to teach the practice of yoga, we all read this out loud together as a group because it's just so powerful. So as I read this poem to you, I want to invite you to close your eyes, really, and just listen to the words that you hear. And as you listen to the words, I really want you to just notice how they make you feel when you hear them. So if you want to do that, if you feel comfortable with that, close your eyes. We're in a safe space right here. And just maybe start with just take a couple deep breaths and then hear these truly inspiring words. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightening about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. That quote's from Marianne Williamson's 1992 best-selling book called A Return to Love. I don't know if you've heard of that. But it's so powerful that Nelson Mandela actually read this at his inaugural speech as well. So, wise man, I like to say. So what does it mean to say, let your light shine? And why might we have been afraid to do so in the past? I don't really want to talk about those whys and focus on that because I really think as women, we've done enough of that already. We're very good at being critical of ourselves and critiquing ourselves. But what we really need to learn to do better is love ourselves. So letting our light shine means that we are confident in who we are because who we are impacts the world in a positive way. Letting our light shine means that we acknowledge that some people may not understand who we are, but that it's not our insecurities or issues, it's theirs, and we cannot take that on. Letting our light shine means that we have a highly charged positive energy within us that cannot be held back. Letting our light shine means that we are authentic, brilliant, kind, talented, gorgeous women who bring it all every day for no other reason that we are intimately connected to the divine energy of the universe that runs through us and gives us that spark that makes this life so precious to really all of humanity. Letting our light shine means being a beacon that shows others, women and men, how to also shine and uplifts all life. So I remember going back again to being a student here at Mercer County College. Again, this was the late 80s. And I remember being in a sociology class at that time. And I really was a very shy, introverted person. I didn't want to raise my hand in class. I didn't want to draw attention to myself. I just wanted to just do what I had to do, get out the door, and be invisible. But there was something that the professor was talking about that day, and I can't remember the particulars of it, but I remember I didn't agree with him, and I really didn't agree with what he was saying. And, you know, I was looking around, and nobody else was speaking up or saying anything, and I sat there for a really long time questioning if I should. What right do I have to speak up and say something? I'm just a student. He knows more than me. But there was something burning inside me that just kept getting charged, and I eventually had to say something. And so I raised my hand. I made my comment or my talk, and I think that what happened was, right after I said something, another person actually kind of agreed with me and also stepped up and said something. And I think it was another girl that was sitting next to me to my left. But shortly after that happened, class was over. So we never really had a discussion about it. It kind of ended, and that was the end of the session. But I remember that was an important moment for me, actually. That moment right in the same plot of land that we're talking about talking from right now, that there was this kind of charge or light or fire within me that needed to speak up, that needed to say something. It may sound a little insignificant to you, but it's still such a memory for me of a time where I stepped up and I said something and disagreed maybe with the powers that be, and then another person next to me said, hey, I feel the same way, and why are we sitting here, just kind of listening to this when there's something bigger, deeper, richer that we feel right about, right? So in that way, my light and stepping into my light allowed that other person to step into theirs. And so even though it didn't go real big and it wasn't this huge, let's say political thing, it was significant to me at that time. It was a big event. And so I don't want to credit maybe that particular moment as being all, because I've certainly had a lot of life lessons since then where I've unfolded and learned. But I think that was part of the catalyst that woke me up from that slumber that I was in. So I have another little quote for you from Thomas Paine. I love this one. This is from the 1700s. He said, "The mind once enlightened cannot again become dark." And that's the thing. Once we turn that light on and we truly see, we can't forget what we saw or what it felt like. And from that moment on, we can try with our higher self to be even better and to inspire others to also achieve greater heights themselves. When I first realized that I needed to shift my life from a corporate environment that did not support my light, it was scary. I liked the comforts of a steady paycheck, paid vacations. I think I had 6 weeks of paid vacation, I'm not lying. That was good. And I worked for AAA, which gave me discounts on traveling, which was even better. I had medical paid. At that time, medical pay was good. And I had purchased my own condo. So I had a mortgage, I had other debts, but I was in my early 30s, and I want to say most of my 20s, I was pretty miserable. But I was comfortable there. But my realizations that I needed to change my life around, starting from my primary relationship to my career, they came by getting in touch with my true self. And really that came through a yoga practice. And I just knew that I had to make changes, and even though that scared me, I did it anyway. In the beginning, the changes weren't greatly supported. Most of my friends and family thought that I was insane and stepped down into that unknown, from that known to start my own business. Back then, yoga was not nearly as popular as it is today. There's a lot of yoga places out there today. Back then, there were, in New Jersey, I knew of 3. There was me, there was the Princeton Center for Yoga, and then there was a Freehold Center, which actually just closed this year. That was it. So, when you look around now, there's franchises and yoga in the gym, and just, it's everywhere, it's exploded. And I was also a massage therapist at that time, and that came with its own challenges and what people perceive that to be. So it really was not easy to decide to do that. I had just recently met my now husband at that time. He was also self-employed, and he really pushed me to go for it, even though I had lots of reservations. But I sold my condo, I moved back in with my mom temporarily, I got rid of things I didn't need, I focused on teaching yoga, doing massage, and it took off. And so 19 years later, I'm here talking to you today in this luncheon. So people have asked me how I managed to make those difficult decisions back then. And I have to be honest, even though I was always introverted and somewhat shy when I was younger, I always did have a strong sense of who I was. I lost that woman for a short time because I listened to everyone else. I listened to society, Disney movies, family, friends, coworkers, bosses. They all told me what I should be doing. But when I was able to stop all that external chatter and listen to my own inner voice, I knew what was right. I knew what I needed to do that was going to really make me feel whole. And once you get to that point, that's undeniable, right? It's like that light going on. You can't forget what you see or what you know. Now, I'm not saying it was easy. There's still challenges that I face as a self-employed woman, but day after day, year after year, I meet those challenges somehow. I want to also recognize that I would not be the strong woman I am today without having strong women that raised me. My mother and both of my grandmothers were and are very young, very strong, independent women. One of my grandmothers just celebrated her 97th birthday, the 22nd of February. She raised 3 boys basically on her own. She made it happen. And I remember growing up, she was my role model. She lived on her own. She made her own rules. She worked hard. And she still has an amazing sense of humor. Doesn't she?
She does.
She's hilarious. My other grandmother was born with polio, walked with a bum leg. She was told she'd never have children, so she had to. She was told she'd never drive, so she got her license and she drove with her crutch. She owned her own business. She was a seamstress right around the corner from here on Klockner Road in her home. If anybody ever told her she couldn't do something, that was enough to make it happen, to show them wrong. And my mother was raised by that woman, and she really didn't cut me much slack either. So, but thank goodness, thank goodness. So the importance of a really strong female role model, I think, for women is so important, and it goes back to that light. when you see, hear, or know of a woman that lives in her light, it does motivate you to step into yours. So if you don't have one of those types of women in your life, I really beg you to seek one out. And find that female mentor that can encourage you. And by her own actions, by her own, not just what she's saying to you, but how she's living her life. When I was that shy, introverted girl, and even younger, I would spend a whole day in my bedroom writing. And I was really content just sitting there writing. But thank God, my strong-willed mother pushed me outside and made me play with people and do other things. I would probably still be there. But she also did give me time for that. She let me stay in my room and write. In middle school, I would write stories, and my friends would act them out on the playground during recess. One of my teachers back then, Mr. Delizio, I never forget him, he used to read our stories out loud in English class. And so mine always got a good, positive reaction. That really encouraged me to continue writing. I wrote, when I was here at Mercer County College, I wrote for the College Voice. Is the College Voice still happening?
Yep.
Yay.
And we have a creative writing club now.
Did not have that when I was here. But yeah, I wrote for the College Voice. I was the entertainment editor the second year. Then I received an accommodation of journalism from Mercer County College. I don't know what year that was. I'd have to look that up. But I want to say like 1988, something like that. But then I went down to Glassboro State College from there to finish my 4 years. And I wrote for their magazine called Venue, which I know they still have. So I did that while I was there. Then when I was in corporate, I wrote for the newsletter, and now I do my own monthly newsletters. And about maybe 10 years ago, I wrote my first book, which was called Butterfly, and it was really semi-autobiographical. That's what I would tell people. It's about growing up in Burlington City, where I grew up, and what it was like at that time to be a 13-year-old girl. And so a lot of my friends really enjoyed it because they were entertained by the stories of our childhood. And I wrote a couple of other books, but it wasn't until a couple of years ago, a friend of mine had said to me, and he has a, what does he have? He's a master's degree, I guess, in business. And he said, you really need to write a book about yoga. That's your profession. That's what you do. And you need to talk about that. So my book that you all have received today, The Accidental Yogini, it was published just a year ago, March 1st, 2018. And I'm very proud of it. I've sold a few hundred copies of it, and it's on Amazon, and please give me a good 5-star rating after you read the book. It's also, I want to tell you, it's won a finalist position in the International Book Awards for 2018. I won a finalist for the American Fiction Awards for 2018. I have 2 5-star reader favorite awards and the NABE Pinnacle Award for inspirational fiction of 2018. So I'm really proud of how it's done and the way it has been received. Yes?
So is this book fiction, nonfiction?
It's fiction.
Okay.
It's fiction, yeah. But because I've been teaching this practice of yoga for 19 years and I've known so many students, Susan, how long have you been practicing yoga?
As long as you've had your business.
I mean, for a long time, maybe almost that long. And I've known a lot of people who came to this practice and their lives have changed because of it. So even though it's fiction, there's hints of lots of my students and a little bit of me in there and our stories and what we've done. And when the book first came out last year, I had 3 different students of mine think that it was about them. So I think it's pretty relatable if you are. Yes?
I just wanted to say I sat here before you started and I read the first 2 chapters and I'm like, this is my life. Oh my gosh. Very, very relatable.
Thank you. It's meant to be an easy read.
It is.
An easy read.
Very nicely
A
written.
lot of inspirational quotes in the chapters that kind of give you a hint of what the chapter is going to be about. And then you just follow the ride. You see, she's a hot mess in the beginning. Well, the very first chapter is kind of the end, right? She goes back and she kind of looks through her life, and she's really kind of a mess. She's not happy. You're a hot mess. We're all a hot mess. We're all a hot mess. Some hide it better, that's all. But I think that, you know, we can all relate to having challenges and difficulties in our life, and, you know, maybe this will inspire you in some way, whether it's through yoga or meditation or some kind of either spiritual practice or other practice to make the changes that you need to so that you can have a joyful life, because life is meant to be joyful. And if we're always suffering, we're not living it. We have to get to that point. So, you know, when I was writing this book, a lot of my old fears came up for me because I may be a professional woman in the yoga community, but not as a professional writer. So putting myself back out there was scary, and I had to battle a lot of my own demons and fears and get to the point where, you know, it came out, and then every time somebody would write a review or say something, I was like, my stomach would turn just to wait and see what they said. You know, still kind of like looking for that external validation in some way until I really got to the point where I said, you know what, I know this is good material and this can help a lot of people. I think to drive you in some way to find your light, to get into that course correction or whatever process you're in. So I hope that it inspires more women, not just women, men have read it and loved it too, to change their life and awaken and step into their light. So, you know, because we're here today to talk about the balanced woman, to me, the balanced woman achieves all that she does because she's in touch with who she is. She's not afraid to let others know. She lets her light shine and inspires others. So that's really all I wanted to share with you. Unless you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer questions, or if you want to talk to me about anything personal.
Is the book available in audio as well?
It's not available audio, but it's available on Kindle on Amazon, so you can get it electronic. It's a little less expensive for the Kindle version, I think. I have to find... yeah, imagine. I don't remember the prices. It's like $20 for the book, right? And then I think Kindle's a little bit less than that. So a lot of people have asked me if I would record it, and I need to find that avenue, and then I'll do it. That'd be great. Do you guys listen to books more often because you're busy? Yeah. I'm still old school. I like paper. You know, the thing about yoga, and this is a good thing to talk about real quick, is that there's different styles and types of yoga. Some of you may have heard of hot yoga, where you go into a really hot room, right? You sweat, you detox. There's all kinds of yoga. The yoga we do here is called Hatha Yoga, Hatha. It's an all-level, it's for everybody and anybody, whether you're flexible, inflexible, whether you're old, whether you're, you know, thin. It doesn't matter who you are.
I have one
You can
good
practice
leg
it.
and the opposite side good arm.
Yeah.
So you can work with that.
Hatha, yes. Danielle goes.
I was in a very severe car accident in 2015, so if I
Yeah.
can do it, anybody can do it. And I heard like what Tracy was saying throughout it, and it resonates with me because it's a beginner class, and
Yeah.
even if you stay a beginner forever, like I think I've been
Yeah.
a beginner for 10 years, but that's okay. You know, that's okay. That's the thing with yoga is you can just go and you do what you can and you enjoy yourself and you don't push yourself and you're just doing what is within your level to do.
Yeah.
And it's made a big difference for me. It's changed my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you go to the ones that are here too?
I do go to the ones
She
that are here
does.
and I also go to Yoga Studio in Spring Lake Beach.
Mhm.
And I love it.
Then can you explain when you say it changed your life?
I think it just gives you more confidence. It made me feel like, you know, I can come here and do this, because I think I did feel like, oh, I can't go to this class. my neck is injured, I have to disc out my back, I can't do this. But then being able to go there, and even if I'm able to do 75% of it, I leave there and go, wow, I was able to do 75% of it.
Exactly.
Or maybe I had to go in a modified pose or do something different at the time, but that's still okay.
If you have limitations or injuries, you work at your own pace. And yoga's not a competition.
Mhm.
Yoga is an inward journey to finding your true self. That's really what it is. We are familiar with the poses, right? Like the girl on the cover of the tree balancing and downward dog, everybody's favorite. But there's more to yoga than that. It's really a lifestyle, and it's a way of being and coming into who you really are at the end of the day. Yeah.
Can you tell us all about unified yoga?
Oh yes, that's like near and dear to my heart. So I do a program at the Special Olympics in Lawrenceville, and I've developed a program for them for their unified program. So unified yoga means that Special Olympics athletes, as well as their caregivers, family, friends, whoever can come. Again, it's free through Special Olympics, but you have to register with them. You have to be a participant. They need certain information from you. But if you know anybody that is involved with Special Olympics, definitely have them get in touch with. I go there twice a month, and I teach this unified class, and it's amazing. It's the best hour of my week. I'm not even kidding you. They just love it. They get it. We have people with all range of physical and developmental disabilities, and they all get it. They all love it. So that's what the unified is. Yeah.
Have you ever levitated while doing yoga?
Of course. That's advanced.
In mind, right?
Yeah, I mean, you go places, right? But I think that, we're very attached to our physical body. So we think that, that levitation or being able to be in two places at one time, different skills that they hire yogi can do. We equate it to physical things, but really, when you're able to kind of journey to those places, it's a little different than what you might expect. Susanna, you had your hand up. I'm sorry.
I wanted to say that women in particular, being caregivers and everything else in the world, don't allow themselves 1 hour to do something, and yoga is allowing yourself 1 hour to yourself. You can use it as meditation. I found that I became stronger, way stronger physically, as well as mentally. I find that yoga practice through the times, good times and bad times, particularly. For example, I had a family member, my mom was really sick. I was really, really stressed. But doing that yoga, I found that hour, it didn't matter. And it helped through those periods. So it's sort of an all-around thing. And I always say, find an hour, even find the time to try to check over at the gym on a Monday night if you have time.
Yeah.
Just give yourself that hour, because a lot of times I know women don't do that. I know it.
Yeah. We're busy people. We're only getting busier. Time is actually speeding up. I was reading, I like quantum physics and science, so I was reading something saying that a 24-hour day now, we actually experience as 16 hours. That's our experience of time now, because of it speeding up. So, we're busy, and it's accelerating, and that continues. But it's our job to create the balance, and the balance means we have to slow down, we have to stop, we have to pause, we have to reconnect body, mind, and soul. We're disconnected most of the time. And our cellular devices that we're so in love with and electronic devices and things, they actually keep us separated from being grounded in
Even your sleep, all the digital displays and everything, you don't realize, even with your eyes closed, light comes through.
Yeah.
And it does change your sleep.
Yeah, there's been studies that say you should remove electronic devices from your bedroom, and you should unplug from them at least a couple hours before going to bed, if you really want to sleep.
Whenever I meet someone who has a TV in their bedroom, I tell them that.
Yeah. It's a hard thing. It took me a long time. I like to go to sleep watching King of Queens. And it took me a long time. I finally moved it out of the bedroom a few years ago, and I sleep great. I mean, it's another gift we give to ourselves, right? If we have to sleep, we have to recuperate, we have to be fresh for the next day. Don't you want to be the freshest you can be? So these are things that you can do.
So like, I'm the type of person who struggles with turning everything off in my mind.
Can anyone relate to
So,
that?
do you have any advice, like, especially when like practicing yoga, sometimes I find I'm just like running through my list in my head and I just can't stop it. Like, are there any ways to like focus? Like,
Yeah, do you guys want to try something real quick? And then your hands, I just would like you to place them down on your lap, just palms down on your lap. Sit up tall so your spine is straight. And then just close your eyes. Just close your eyes for a moment. And notice where your eyes are, if they're darting around, like looking for something. And I want you to try to focus your eyes on one spot. So you could pick the tip of your nose, or you could pick the center of your eyebrows. And keep your mind, or keep your vision, your gaze at that spot. And now as you're focusing at that spot, I want you to take some deep breaths through your nose. So inhale, deep breath through your nose. And now exhale a deep breath through your nose. This is going to be slow for some of you, but inhale again through your nose, deep breath. And exhale, deep breath through your nose. Now this time when you inhale, I want you to try to fill your belly up. So on the inhale, try to blow up your belly like it's a balloon. And then on the exhale, try to squeeze your belly in towards your spine. Squeeze it back. So inhale, fill your belly. And exhale, squeeze your belly back towards your spine. And keep all of your focus on this breath. Inhale, fill your belly. Exhale, squeeze your belly back towards your spine. Inhale, fill your belly. Exhale, belly to the spine. Now this time, inhale, fill the belly, and hold your breath. Just hold your breath. You're in control. Hold that breath. Belly full, mind clear, focusing. Take a slow, deep exhale and squeeze the belly back towards the spine. We're going to do that again. So big, deep breath, inhale, fill the belly. Hold the breath. Focus on the breath. The eyes are gazing at one point. Focus on what you're feeling in this suspended moment. Peace, simplicity, connection. Take your exhale when you need it. Squeeze that belly back towards the spine. Do it 1 or 2 more times on your own. Just big, deep breath, the inhale, the retention, and the exhale. Maybe one more time. And then just take a nice deep breath in through your nose. And now we're going to take a sigh so you can open your mouth and just let that go. And now just notice how you feel. Notice where you're at. Oh, I see smiles. I like smiles. I'm not saying that, that fixes everything, but it's a coping skill for the challenging times. It does help the nervous system actually switch from that fight or flight place where it's usually in when we're stressed to a more relaxed state. So it has a direct effect on calming us through our nervous system. You feel that? Yeah.
I used to always, years ago, but used to always teach before you go to do that presentation, before you walk into that interview, take at least 3 or even 5 deep breaths. Deep breaths, and because it relaxes you, it calms you, and it gives you something else to focus on or not focus on before you go in, and you just go in calmer. So anything that makes you nervous or you worry, you worry about it.
Right.
The anticipation is usually worse than the actual event,
Yeah.
but it just helps bring you back
It
down to
absolutely
anything.
does. And also, when we normally, if you watch a baby breathe breathes the way I just taught you with the belly, because they're not stressed out. They're completely at peace. But we've developed, stress, and that happens from a very young age. We actually start holding our breath to combat stress, and then we wind up breathing real shallow in our chest. So if I told you to take that first breath, a lot of you went, because that's how you usually breathe. But when I said breathe in the belly, I saw a couple people go, what? But you inhale, you fill up your belly. You're actually using your diaphragm muscle, which is responsible for like 70% of your actual breathing capacity. You're able to breathe deeper and longer when you breathe in your belly, and then you're oxygenating your cells more. So there's lots of like science behind, right, what this simple yoga breathing does. And even if that's the only thing you remember about yoga is that little breath, and you practice that for 1, 2, 5 minutes a day, you're going to start to see a difference. You might notice that the mind starts to quiet a little bit easier. And if it happens for a minute or 30 seconds or whatever, not that it's devoid of thought, because we're human and we have that, but if it slows down enough where we can relax and shift, that's enough. And that inspires us. Do another minute the next day, right? And then maybe you walk into a yoga place and try that too. But you do, if you do go to yoga or you want to try a yoga place, definitely think about coming to my studio in Hightstown and checking out what we have to offer there. And I will send that to Danielle, that little offer, if you want to. And my information's on the back of the book. So if you have any, my yoga studio's website's there. You can go online and check it out. You can email me through there. You can email me other ways. If you have any personal questions, like, Tracy, I have this issue or that, what do you think? What do you recommend? I'm more than happy to help guide you. Okay. Well, thank you, guys. We end our yoga classes with a Sanskrit word, which means the light in me, or the divine light in me, honors the divine light in you, and that word is namaste. So we always namaste.